Bedtime stories. A Year of Yes, Chapter 8. Yes to my body. Here's the thing I maybe forgot to mention. When I decided to begin my year of yes, that night I decided I'm going to start saying yes to the thing that scared me. That night I told you about when I'm lying on the sofa with a glass of wine staring at my Christmas tree. I am fat. I'm not cutely chubby or nicely plus size. I'm not round in my rump. I don't have a junk in my trunk. I'm not voluptuous. I'm not a going pop wow and pop pam in all the right places. I'm not working my curves the way I did in college. If I was, you can bet I would be wearing something cute and tight and daring you to say something about it. But that's not what is going on. No, I am fat. I am obese. I'm the biggest I've ever been in my entire life. I'm so fat that I'm uncomfortable in my own skin. So fat that I'm having this surreal experience of catching a glimpse of myself in a mirror and wondering what genuine, confusing, who is that? It actually takes a few seconds for my brain to catch up, for me to realize with shock that I am looking at my own reflection. The stranger is me. I'm staring at myself encased in many, many extra pounds of fat. So many I'm afraid to get on a scale. I am massive. But that's not the thing. I am massive. But more important, I feel massive, which is the thing. Look, I will not be told what size to be. I don't care about anyone else's judgment about my body. I'm not interested in anyone else's idea of what I'm supposed to look like. I believe everybody's body is theirs and everyone has a right to love their body in whatever size and shape and package it comes in. I will fight for anyone's right to do so. I'll kick ass and take names if I have to. Your body is yours. My body is mine. No one's body is up for comment. Nobody's body is up for comment. No matter how small, how large, how curvy, how fat, how flat. If you love you, then I love you. But it's not just about loving me. I don't feel good. And while part of me means it emotionally, I most mean it physically. I don't feel good. My knees hurt, my joints hurt. I discovered the reason. I'm so exhausted all the time is because I have sleep apnea. I am now on a high blood pressure medication. I can't get comfortable. I can't touch my toes. My toes are untouchable. I need to eat a piece of cake to cope with the discovery. I am a mess. I do not know how this happened, except I do. Remember the generic Powerball lottery and the women in my family have won? The one that means we will never look older than a pack of terribly tired teenagers? It seems there's also a metabolic super lotto that had the winning numbers, but only for half the one in my family. So my sister Dolores and Sandy have the great luck of not looking 14 years old, but also be able to eat half a cow in one sitting and never look larger than, well, a 14-year-old. I, on the other hand, did not draw those numbers. Fat runs towards me and jumps up onto my body and clings there, like it knows that it has found a home, like it wants to be with its people. I've battled my weight my entire life. It has always seemed unfair. It was always a horrible struggle, and after a while, I decided that struggling was not worth it. So I stopped battling. I stopped starving myself, and I started settled in at what seemed like a not too heavy but not skinny weight. Plus size, juicy, curvy, definitely cute, great booty. I was healthy. I was working out. I wasn't thinking too much about my body anyway. And then I lost control of the wheel. Don't ask me exactly when. I'm not sure. But I know it coincided with slowly closing all the doors in my life, saying no to things, shutting down. And there's the thing. It didn't really feel like that was about what was happening. I mean, I had a lot going on. I had some excellent excuses for letting go of that wheel. I decided to freeze my eggs, like the ones inside my body. Babies, yes. The miracle of life. In order to freeze your eggs, you have to inject yourself with some hormones. Now, if you are a naturally thin person, you seem to stay thin. If you're me, not so much. Then out of nowhere, I had a minor surgery, which made me go, I better stop all this working out, maybe lie down here on the sofa for a bit to recuperate. The surgery was on my eye, so what's your point? It doesn't seem that the surgery was on my eye. My eye needed to recuperate, but when my eye was better, that sofa kind of needed me. It didn't seem that important to get back up. Plus, there was some good TV on. Oh, yes, TV. I had a job, Grey's Anatomy. Then I had two jobs. I had a private practice. Then I had three jobs. I had a scandal up top of those shows. And then, just as I said goodbye to private practice, we began producing How to Get Away with Murder. And the more shows I had, the more I could be found on the desk or on the sofa or editing room. The more I could be found sitting on my butt. The more I sat, the less I moved. The less I moved, don't make me say it. And the shows were doing so well. It was like more of a kind of a cruel joke. If something had failed, the irony was that I would have to have the time to take myself to the gym. I would have the time to get some rest. I would have had the time to take care of myself. And at least that's the story I told myself. But nothing got canceled. I was succeeding. I was doing more than succeeding. It's incredibly rare for a television drama to run even 3 seasons, and by this point, the shows I've created had all gone at least 5. Shondaland was a brand now. The studio expected us to produce more shows. The network expects us to maintain the quality of the ones currently in the air. Now I own an entire night of the most expensive real estate on television, TGIT, had taken over social media. Everyone around me seemed invested, very invested. I started having nightmares about it getting canceled. Dolores and Jenny McCarthy fussed over me, worrying that my creativity would be affected by stress. They didn't understand. My creativity was the one place I never felt stress. Creating worlds, characters, stories has always been where I am most at ease. With the empty whiteboard of an episode before me, I slip into a zone of calm confidence. I feel the hum. Making television for me is blissful. I can make my stuff up the I can make stuff up the way other people can sing. I've simply always been able to hit all the notes, as at the core, a TV show is just bigger pantry. So I wasn't worried about writing the shows or making the shows. I was worried about rising expectations. I was worried about the stakes. Oh yeah, maybe I should mention there are stakes, and man oh man are they high. As the shows got more popular, I was actually painfully aware of what was at stake. I smiled, refused to answer that question, pretend I didn't know the reporter were asking me about when they asked about race. But you can't be race but you can't be raised by a black America and not know. That wasn't just my shot, it was ours. I had to do everything right. I had to keep it all afloat. I had to run to the top of the mountain. I could not rest. I could not fall. I could not stumble. I could not quit. Failing to reach the summit was not an option. Failing would be bigger than just me. Blowing it would reverberate for decades to come. With Grey's Anatomy, it would mean that giving an African American woman her own show with a cast that looked like the real world was a mistake. I proved it wasn't. The stakes got even higher for Scandal. If that the first network drama with an African American leading lady in 37 years to find an audience, who knows how long it would take for another to come along? Failure meant 2 generations of actresses might have to wait for another chance to be seen in some of the sidekick. I am what I have to come to tell FOD, a first only different. We are a very select club, but there are more of us out there than you think. We know one another on sight. We all have that same worried look in our eyes, the one that wishes people would stop thinking it remarkable that we can be great at what we do while black, while Asian, while a woman, while Latino, while gay, while a paraplegic, while deaf. But when you are an FOD, is saddled with what burden of extra responsibility. Whatever you want, why not? When I made my first television show, I did something I felt was perfectly normal. In the 21st century, I made the world of a show that looked the way the world looks. I filled it with people of all hues, genders, backgrounds, and sexual orientation. And then I did the most obvious thing possible. I wrote all of them as if they were people. People of color live three-dimensional lives, have love stories, and are not funny sidekicks, cliches, or criminals. Women are the heroes, the villains, the badasses, the big dogs. This, I was told over and over, was tailblazing and brave. I hope you have your left eyebrow raised too, dear reader, because, girl, please. But I was doing a thing that Suits. I did the thing that Suits had said could not be done on TV, and America was proving them wrong by watching. We were literally changing the face of television. I was not about to make a mistake now. You don't get second chances. Not when you're FOD. Second chances are for future generation. That is what you are. That's what you are building when you are FOD. Second chances for the ones who come behind you. As Papa Pope told his daughter Olivia, you have to be twice as good to get half as much. I didn't want half, I wanted it all. And so I worked 4 times as hard. I never wanted to have a look at myself in the mirror and say that I didn't try as hard as I could to make these shows work. That I didn't give 100% to leave a legacy for my daughters. And for all the young women of color out there who wondered what was possible, it irritated to my core that we live in an era of ignorance great enough that it was still necessary for me to be a role model, but that didn't change the fact that I was one. I got into the habit of working as hard as I could all the time. My life revolved around work. And outside of work, I took a path at least resistance. I didn't have the energy for difficult conversations or arguments, so I smiled and let people get away with teasing me however they wanted. And that only made me yearn to be back at the office, where I was in charge, where I was the boss, where people were too respectful or kind or happy or afraid to treat me like crap. Because I worked so much, so I found myself constantly tired. In the early days of Grace, I said no to so many invitations that people actually stopped asking me. I began having a reputation as someone who did not socialize with people outside of work. In reality, I didn't socialize with anyone outside of work. My large circle of friends also didn't understand. There were whispers I abandoned them for a glamorous Hollywood life filled with parties and famous friends. I would have laughed at this, but I was just too tired. I get an angry email about a missed birthday and would be asleep. I face first on my keyboard before I could craft an apology response. Finally, I just gave up. My friends selected down to a smaller core group. I stayed home more and spent more time working, more time alone, more time hiding. Losing yourself does not happen all at once. Losing yourself no at one no at a time. Not to go not go, mm. Losing yourself does not happen all at once. Losing yourself happens one no at a time. No going out tonight. No to catching up with that old colleague roommate. No to attending that party. No to going on vacation. No to making a new friend. Losing yourself happens 1 pound at a time. The more I worked, the more stressed I was. The more stressed I was, the more I ate. I knew things were getting out of hand as I started to feel more uncomfortable, as I started to feel more tired, as the jeans got tighter and tighter, when I went up a size after size, when I needed the largest size clothing in the plus size shop, and yet I was oblivious about how so much of it. The feminist in me didn't want to have the discussion with myself. I resisted the need to talk about weight. It felt as though I was judging myself on how I looked. I felt shallow. I felt misogynistic. It felt treacherous to care. My body is just a container I carry my brain around in. I started saying back in college when the frat guys would make dirty comments about my boobs, and I used a tone that said, "God, how dumb are you?" But I had to say it to them a lot, to make them know that I should be invisible to them, to make them stop looking. And now I was saying it to myself a lot, to make me invisible to myself. My body is just a container I carry my brain around in. I said it while I ate cartons of ice cream. I said it I ate a whole pizza. I said it while I enjoyed mac and cheese with bacon in it. You heard me, bacon in it. I ate anything that had bacon in it or was wrapped in bacon. or meat wrapped around another meat clearly proved the universe was unfolding exactly as it should. My body is a container full of bacon that I carry my brain around in. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just a container I carry my brain around in. But so is a car. And if the car is broken down and busted, my brain isn't going anywhere. Same goes for my container. I felt old. Not I'm old and I like to lie. Old. Stop participating in the world. Old. Sit in the chair and watch the world go by. Old. What an extraordinary waste of a life. But what a tasty human veal. I think no one is noticing. I think no one sees. I think the fact that I have doubled in size may not be that noticeable because I don't really notice it. It happens so gradually. I'm invisible to myself. I think I am. I think I am maybe invisible to everyone. I am not. People try to be tactfully helpful, but said things to me like, "Endorphins make you feel good. So does chocolate cake, fool." Betsy Bear, I love and adore and would honestly slay a dragon for, at least kill a spider for, once said, "You just have to train yourself to love salads." I did not speak to her for several days. Who trains himself to love salads? What kind of sicko trains himself to love salads? I could also train myself to love the taste of gravel or cow crab, but why? I don't hate myself. I hired a trainer, and then I promptly fired him because he said, "Nothing tastes as good as thin feels." He cliched at me. He cliched at me in perfectly condescending tone. Nothing tastes as good as thin feels. Who says that to a fat woman? Seriously, who says that? Because clearly, A, you have never had barbecue ribs, and B, shut your stupid mouth. Being tasty veal is not something I'm happy about. Even veal does not want to be veal. Veal wants to be rescued by PETA, and I start to long to be rescued as well. I get on a plane to New York. I'm a fancy TV writer, so I have a first class ticket, a big first class comfy seat I settle in, shoes off, pull out my book, grab that seatbelt, and, well, it's gonna be broken. It's broken, right? I've broken a seatbelt, right? Right? I do not have a broken seatbelt. I'm literally too fat for a first class airplane seatbelt. I am Violet Burgergrade, blowing up like a giant blueberry in Willy Wonka's factory. I'm the thing at Gilbert's grape. Poke me with a pin and I'm going to pop like a balloon. I freaking wish. At least it would mean I wouldn't be a passenger on this plane. The humiliation is starting to make me sweat. A sweaty Shonda is not a pretty Shonda. A sweaty Shonda is a short leap away from a hideous troll like Shonda. I decided that I have two choices. I can ask a flight attendant for the seatbelt extender, or I can go without a seatbelt, thus ensuring that Karma will crash the plane and I will plummet to my death, taking hundreds of innocent seatbelt wearing, law abiding people with me. You know me pretty well by now. Gentle reader, what do you think I do? Do you think I act like an adult, like a grown ass woman who ate herself here? Do I hit the button to summon the flight attendant? Do I speak to the flight attendant in the clear and calm voice, clearly announcing each word to everyone in the first class cabin is sure to hear what the sweaty girl in the seat 5A has to say? Excuse me, but it has just come to my attention that I am now way too fat for the big, giant first class airplane seatbelt. May I have the very same seatbelt extender that I used to smirk to myself about while thinking superior thoughts? May I, please? Really, me? Please? No. You know me by now. You know I don't do that. I chose death. I chose death by fat and by karma and because Catholics don't quit. I bravely chose to deal with the hellfire and domination that would follow forever after a punishment for taking the rest of the plane's passengers down with me. I tossed my sweater over my lap to hide the lack of seatbelt, giving an apologetic smile to the man in the seat across from this aisle. Shut the eyes tight and wait for the painful that is to come. I don't die. I'm not dead. Hot damn, I'm a narcissist. Did I just expect karma to take down a whole plane load of people because my ass got too fat, my ego got too big to admit it? I'm alive. But I immediately start to imagine myself dead. Imagine myself being embalmed. Imagine myself being worked on in a funeral home. Some lady putting makeup on my dead fat face. I think of the extra large coffin, the enormous tent my sister will have to buy to give the funeral director to dress me in. It sounds funny. Not to me. Nothing about this is funny to me. I have two toddlers and a 12-year-old. What the hell have I been doing to myself? I find myself wondering, how do I say yes to this? The year of yes, I realize, has become a snowball rolling downhill. Each yes rolls into the next, and the snowball is growing and growing and growing. Every yes changes something in me. Every yes is a bit more transformative. Every yes sparks a new phase of evolution. So what is this yes here? What do I say yes to in order to get healthy? At first, I don't know. A few days later, I'm laying in bed back at home in the midst of a rousing session of veal practice, watching old Doctor Who reruns, eating chocolate chip cookies, enjoying the graft that is my mattress when it hits me. I like this. The bed, the warm chocolate chip cookies, the veal practice. The warm chocolate chip cookies, the TV, the warm chocolate chip cookies. I like it. No, I love it. I'm enjoying myself. This is fun. It's easy. It's relaxing. It requires very little effort. Plus, did I mention warm chocolate chip cookies? This is a good time for me. It's a picnic. It's a party. It's a partay. This is how I roll. Wait. Oh. Oh. And holy crap, there it is. I've already been saying it. Yes. I've been saying yes to being fat, which is why I'm now so fat. I'm not a failure. I'm successfully fat. I didn't let go of the wheel. I just turned the car down the fat road. I've been saying yes to fatness. And you know what? What the hell wouldn't I? Being fat has been easy for me. It has worked for me. I wouldn't have done it if it hadn't. Being fat made me happy. On private practice, Naomi has the following discussion with Addison about putting food on top of feelings to make everything better. Naomi: I take all these feelings, the rage, the exhaustion, the sexual frustration, the desire to run Sam down my car, the fact that my child now thinks her father is a good parent. I just take it all and shove it down as far as I'll go, and I just put some food on top of it. Addison: maybe you should talk to Sam instead of inhaling 4,000 calories a day. Naomi: you know what? You find your magic your way, I find my magic my way. I was finding my magic my way. My own special formula involved red wine and buttered popcorn, a warm chocolate cake, and anything that was fried, and 5 cheese macaroni and cheese, and veal practice. Did I tell you what veal practice is? Oh, veal practice involved me lying very still on the sofa, trying as hard as I could to mimic the life of a veal while eating veal. I wish I were kidding. It was magic. The food created a nice top coat. It helped to smooth down the rigid, ragged edge bits, sealed off the parts of me that were broken. It filled in all the holes, covered up the cracks. Yep, I just put some food on top of any and everything that bothered me, and that food just spackled right on there. And presto, underneath the food, everything inside me was smooth and cold and numb. I was dead inside, and that was good. Magic. Don't let anyone tell you that food doesn't work. Anyone who tells you that food doesn't work is either stupid or a liar who has never had food before. You can tell them I said so. It works. Putting food on top of it works. It If food did not work, if it didn't work, it's bloody gluttonous more is more magic. Everyone in America would be Angelina Jolie then. No one would drive through. No one would sprinkle or pinkberry or any of it. No. Food does work. Food feels so good when you put it on top of all the stuff you don't want to deal with or know how to deal with. It even works on stuff you don't even recognize as worthy of dealing with. Food is magic. It makes you feel better. It numbs you. Beautiful, magical food deadens your soul just enough so you can't think too hard about anything other than cake or sleep. Putting food on top of the cats casts a spell to make the fiends go away. You don't have to face yourself to think or maybe anything other than your brain. Nobody necessary. Food works. There's the rub. There's the trouble. It works. I would be eating a whole bucket of fried chicken right this very minute if I thought it could still fit in these pants afterwards. If I was still okay with being dead inside. The thing is, I'm not. I'm not okay with being dead inside at all. Being numb no longer suits me. It's ill fitting, and I'm antsy about it. I find myself snapping back at people more, writing little Bailey Eeks rants in my emails when someone upsets me. I don't want to be numb. I want to tell someone who has upset me to take their attitude and shove it right up there. Well, let's just say that I'm starting to prefer it shoving some food in my mouth on top of my hurt feelings. What I have to come to call the airplane seatbelt incident of 2014, because I am a woman who will give anything a title, that has made putting food on top of it no longer an option. After the airplane seatbelt incident of 2014, I no longer can deal with being numb. Now numb feels creepy to me. Now numb feels not just dead, but rotting. The food doesn't spackle anymore, it suffocates. In that moment, I have this big, beautiful breakthrough that changes my life. I am pissed off. The universe has ruined the comfort of my brownies and my wine by revealing them for what they are, because now I know the truth about them. I feel like someone just told the 4-year-old me the truth about Santa Claus on Christmas Eve while I'm sitting on the fireplace waiting to hear the jingle bells on the roof. Now all I'm left with are Santa dumb elves, ill-fitting and antsy. Ill-fitting and antsy are no substitute for big fat Santa Claus. Now I have to deal with this. Now I have to say to the fatness, damn it, I want to kick ill-fitting and antsy ass. Losing weight is not going to be easy. No, not once in my life have I ever lost more than 15 pounds unless it involved a serious stomach flu or self-starvation to such an extent that doctors were called. The sheer intensity of how much work's going to be for me to push through the pain and terror of just beginning is daunting. Once a close friend, Jan, whose name has been changed to protect innocence, and I checked into a fancy health spa for a week. Calavia is a beautiful, luxurious, but intense place. So intense that they tell you right up in the front there's no need to bring anything. After take your car keys, you are issued gray sweats to wear each day, just like in the military or in prison. Each morning, at the crack of dawn, you are driven up a mountain, a terrifying and painful death run. After that, there were 3 more hours of working outs. Around noon, as you lie on the ground feeling muscles you never knew you had spasms, you whisper elaborate escape plans for getting over the wall with your fellow prisoners. But just when you are summoned the energy to make a run for it, you are retrieved by your guide and taken to the spa, where for the rest of the day you are pampered with the most luxurious treatments known to humanity. The essence of roses that were grown and nourished with the tears of tiny baby kittens bathe your feet, and you forget all about the plans escape until the next morning when it starts all over again. 10 minutes after checked into Calavia, Jan and I went back to the front desk and we had an emergency. We told them medical, personal, vaginal, eyebrows and pled. They gave us our keys. We jumped in the car and drove away. I'm not going to talk about what happened out there. I'm never going to talk about what happened out there. I'm just going to tell you that we arrived back at the spot an hour and a half later, reeking of shame in the grease of fast food drive-through. We panicked. The fear of ongoing diet was too much. Now I wait for the panic, but it doesn't come. I'm ready. I get a piece of paper and tape it up on the back of my closet door. I climb on a scale. I stare at the number. I let a string of expletives that would make a sailor cry fly out of the mouth. Pen in hand, I walk back over to the paper on the back of the door. I write down the date. I write down my weight. I stare at the number. Then I rip the paper up and throw it in the trash. I don't want to see that number ever again. I gave myself a choice. Which yes did I want to say? Which yes did I want to say? There were two options. I can say yes, I want to be successful at this. I want to be healthy. I want to live a long life for myself and for my children. I want to feel good. And once I say that, I have to buckle down and do the work and not complain and accept that the work is going to be hard. Because that's what it is. Work and hard work. but I will be able to buckle my seatbelt on the plane. I won't have narcissist fears of karmic plane crash. I won't have a giant coffin and wear a tent for a dress. If I say yes, the life I save will be my own. Or I can say no. Screw losing weight. Screw you skinny. I can say I do not want to be successful at this. I want to eat the fried chicken. I want to be veal. But if I say no, if I say that I do not want to do the work, then game over. I have to shut up. I don't want to hear me whining over again about not buckling that plain seat belt. I don't want to listen to a monologue on the pain of not touching my toes. Do not come crying to me about how I hurt my own feelings when I didn't recognize me in the mirror. Because I made a choice. I said no. Wait. I said yes. I said yes to fatness. And if I say yes to fatness, then I need to be fine. If I'm rocking size 24, I need to embrace who I am as I am. I need to buy my own seatbelt extender and pull it out of my purse loud and proud when I get on the plane and dare the air next to me to make a comment. The problem with the fatness isn't the fatness, it's me. If I'm not going to change, I have to move on. I can't waste precious time hovering in the I wish and the if onlys. That is being a dreamer. Dreamers never say yes to anything. I have to do, fat or thin. I have to do. I don't know why I ever thought this was going to be easy. Nothing good is easy. At work, I'm a badass warrior. I'm competitive. I work hard. Hell, I'm a badass competitive warrior at a croquet with the kids. I can competitive knitting once. Knitting. Which is why I am not allowed to knit around other people. Sharp objects, a bloodthirst for victory, balls of wheel. It's not a good mix. I work hard, and that's how I succeed. That's how anyone succeeds. So why in the world did I think weight loss would be any different? Somehow, this idea is a light bulb for me. The idea that this is not fun. This is badass warrior work. The idea that I'm never going to enjoy losing weight. That I'm always going to want to fried chicken. Always, forever. I will always prefer curling up on the sofa with a book to running on a treadmill for the rest of my life. My blood will pump a little bit faster in the scent of dark chocolate and bacon mixed together. Cheesecake will always taste like love. Oh, I'm never going to like losing weight. Losing weight is not fun. It will never be fun. It will bring me no joy. It'll kick my ass and stop me to the ground. Somehow, this knowledge makes me feel so much better. The beauty of lowered expectations. Once I stopped expecting to like it, once I stopped demanding that losing weight is easy or pleasant, once I stopped wanting for the band to start paying attention to what went into my mouth and became tolerable, because I wasn't waiting for it to get better. It's never going to get better. It just sucks. I said yes to losing weight on March 8, 2014. When I stepped on the scale on March 1st, 2015, I had lost almost 100 pounds. So right this in the summer of 2015, I have lost more, unexpectedly more. Then again, anything over 15 pounds was unexpected. More than a few pounds, unexpectedly more. But saying yes is a powerful thing. Now I've told you how hard it was, how much I hated it, and how I did anyway. And still, reader friendly someone among you is going to ask the question anyway. Someone among you is going to ask, Shonda, what diet did you go on? What program did you use? Did I not just say it was never going to be easy, never going to be quick? If things were too easy or quick, I would rather be. I would be. Would there be anyone left out there who talked about struggling with their weight? Now I'm betting all of those big time programs you see advertised and recommended by your doctor work, but only if you decide that you are going to do the work to make the program work. Meaning nothing works if you don't actually decide that you are really and truly ready to do it. Are you ready? Here's how you know if you're ready or not. 3 years ago, if someone had said something to me like, nothing works until you are really ready for it to work, I would have force fed them butter until they weighed 1,000 pounds. Because that sounds like crap. Everything sounds like crap until you are in the right mindset. Everything sounds like crap while you are still busy listing reasons why you should get to eat the whole cake. You should get to eat the whole cake. Yes, you should. And you can. And you can eat the whole delicious cake. You just have to accept that it will make your belly fat. And that is okay. But then to not complain about having a fat belly. Stop berating and shaming and hiding yourself. Become one with your fat belly and love your body for all its gifts. Spend your valuable years on the planet thinking about something other than your weight. Now moving on to, but Shauna, what diet did you do? What program did you choose? Sorry. Sorry. Fine. I did not go on a specific diet to use any specific program. I do not have any kind of weight loss surgery, but I'll tell you what I did. I'm not professional of any kind and expect a fake TV actor writer to so remember that I know absolutely nothing about weight loss because I'm a writer, which means I highly recommend you do the first thing I did, which is one. Start by seeing a licensed physician. I went to my doctor and I said, I don't want to be fat anymore. Help me. My doctor applauded me. Eva's cool that way. I asked for a, I asked for and got a complete physical. I did this till I knew where I was starting out because I want to know what I was working with. I want to be able to see progress in even the smallest way. I also did whatever my doctor told me to do. After that, I thought about exercise. I promised myself that I would never do any exercise that I do not like. So I didn't. In the beginning, I didn't exercise at all. I was too busy trying to convince myself to not eat everything I could get my hands on. But now when I was ready, I called a trainer. I worked with Janet Jackson before. Well, mostly. I complained and weaseled while she tried to get me to move my body. Now I was ready to do what I was told. Janet got me doing Pilates, and I loved it. I mean, who wouldn't? It's exercise you do lying down. For real, it's like the universe finally decided to cut me some slack. Okay, it's also really hard, but still, you lie there. I made myself drink 60 ounces of water every day. Well, it's just a lot of water, but it made me skinny look my skin look fantastic. I decided, and this was the most important rule of me, that no food was off limits. I could eat anything I wanted as long as I ate reasonable portions. Also, and this was the hardest part of this important rule, I can only eat exactly what I was craving. Try doing that for a day. I've been so used to eating simply because it was breakfast time or lunchtime or dinner time. I never started to think about whether or not I was hungry, let alone craving anything. I had never actually listened to my body before. I know a phrase like "listen to your body" sounds suspect, like injury, but it works. The actors on my show seemed to know what I was doing before almost anyone else. Perhaps because as actors, their bodies are their work instruments, because they are stared at all day, because they must be so physically present. They could tell instantly that something had changed for me. They got it. They seemed to understand instantly how hard going my weight loss was. They were all over me with support. Katie Lowe, Scotty, Kerry Washington, and Ellen in particular felt like my weekly cheerleaders. Every time I saw one of them at table reads, they had some encouraging words or a hug. As I began to make progress, Ellen told me strangely, "Be careful, do not lose the booty, lady." Not possible. As I started to really lose weight, something interesting started happening. I stopped thinking of my body as a mere container for my brain. I became more aware of it in every way, how it worked, how it felt, how it moved. I noticed how the muscles in my back tightened up in response to stress. I stretched more often. It's gonna sound weird, but I became obsessed with my skin and making it perfectly smooth and soft. That means a lot of moisturizing of knees and feet and hands before bed. And I started to feel strong, like truly strong. When I was a power pose now, I don't just feel confident like Wonder Woman. I feel like Wonder Woman. 50 pounds in. I put my daughter Amazon on my back and galloped up and down the halls of our house with her hanging on my shoulders and squealing after I put her down for her nap. I sat down on the steps and burst into tears. 4 months ago, there was no way I would have been able to haul her with myself down the hall even once with a child on my back. Not even a brisk walk. A gallop would have almost killed me. Now I wasn't even winded. For the first time in my life, the woman had to be dressed like a child and told to stand still to wait for Oprah began to care about clothes. For the first time in my life, the woman who had to be dressed like a child and told to stand still for Oprah began to care about clothes. Dana had been my stylist for years, but dressing me for events had always been like dressing a fat man again. I had no options. I just wore the clothes. I didn't give a crap what she put on me as long as I felt invisible. Not that mattered. The variety of clothes choice for plus size women had always been sparse. It was depressing. Now, I had the opposite problem. I had my pick of designers. The choices were endless, overwhelming, but I had never stopped in the non plus size section of the store before. I felt awkward. I had no sense of what looked good on this new body I was now settling into. Diana literally cleared out my clothes. Everything I owned down to my undies no longer fit. The good stuff went to charity. I managed to hang on to all my Grey's Anatomy t-shirts. They sail on me, but I wasn't letting them go. Not as much as not much else remained. We started over. Dana taught me how to dress, introduced me to colors. I never considered coaxed me into form-fitting clothes. Got to now I got to know designers. Nothing I wore made me feel invisible. Inside this body, I now feel okay about being seen by men. I'd been seen before, but I wasn't paying attention to it. I was in the pantry. I was writing. I was busy hiding. And lately, I was too busy protecting myself from what had happened into my life. Slowly, I'm coming to realize that this part of me, the shyness, the introvertness, the layers of fat, I'm a quite nerdy I am a quiet, nerdy writer who seemingly overnight became, well, famous. Being famous, even if you are an actor, is considered the toll you pay for getting to do your job at the highest level. For a writer, the unexpected shock of it was shocking and a little bit terrifying. Most writers do not set out to become famous. They set out to sit alone in their pajamas in the back of their pantry and dream. They set out to tell stories. They set out to create worlds. That is who they are. That is who I am. Was. And then lightning struck in the craziest, most amazing way. And people began to know my name and recognize my face. And with that comes a lot of attention from all kinds of places. From people who never looked in my direction, from now they were all looking in my direction. And they were all smiling and being nice and offering me things. I didn't want to be looked at. It didn't feel okay being seen. I just wanted to write and hang out with the same friends I've always had and left alone. How do you accomplish that in this town? Your body becomes a container for your brain. It was damn good security system. Now though I'm seen, and I'm getting comfortable being seen, I'm getting used to being seen, I'm realizing there's a part of me that wants to be seen. And that's okay to want to be seen. That's okay to want to be seen. And that's okay to like being seen. I'm being seen. When I walk past the mirror, it still happens. I catch a glimpse and I think, who is that? The girl in the mirror is the size she hasn't been since she was 16 years old. And she looks younger, like a genetic lottery ticket just won the second time around. But it's me. I'm seeing me, and I like what I am seeing. The girl looks happy. All it took was the right kind of yes and salad. Oh, yes. It turns out Betsy was right. It does help to train yourself to love salads. I hate it when she says it. Hate it when she's right. The end.